There you go. You're live now.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Bablu. And hello, everyone. A very good evening to all of you. I welcome all of you to this sixth episode of our special LinkedIn Live series, Breaking the Barriers, Women in Tech and InfoSec. My name is Mukbil Ahmed. I'm the executive editor at dynamicscio.com and Greyhead Media. But first of all, I would wish and hope that all of you are safe and secure. I also thank you for assembling today, despite this being a Thursday evening. A lot of people must be working, but still, anyways, thanks to all of you. Friends, the topic for today's discussion is actually something which has been much debated, and it has been debated across various forums and platforms. It is about the underrepresentation of women in various fields and domains. Of them, uh, technology is one of the most significant, and if we narrow it even closely, narrow it down, then cybersecurity. So, how does the cybersecurity industry fare as far as participation of women is concerned? The answer actually is not very optimistic, seems to be in the negative. Let's look at some of the figures. The technology industry has three times more male engineers than females. Women comprise 34% in the tech sector, with 53% of them dropping out midway. Not very good news. Let's look at the cybersecurity statistics for a while also. We can have some gender breakdown statistics which say that only 11% of the cybersecurity workforce is female, and in the Asia Pacific, it's just 10%. And very, very few women actually are able to reach to the top management roles, and even fewer in the C suites. So it's about time to deliberate on the issues that confront them, the challenges that they face in today's day and age. Having said that, there are quite a few women at the top who are leaders of technology in every sense of the word, and they have indeed uh, literally broken the barriers and emerged triumphant. It's time to initiate a genuine dialogue around gender parity in leadership positions. Therefore, it's a delight, it's an actual delight to see women come up trumps in this very critical domain. So join us as we take this dialogue forward with our esteemed panelists for this evening. The first panelist is Vandana Varma, Global BOD at OWASP and InfoSec Girls. And the second panelist is Mansi Thapar, Head InfoSec Jaguar Group. So during the session, we'll try and understand the journey to the top, the challenges, the inspirations, the words of advice. And to do all that, I am joined by my colleague Gargi from Greyhead Media. So welcome
Hello
all of you.
everybody.
Thank
Hello
you.
Mansi. Hi
Thank you,
Vandana.
Mugvi.
Hello. Thank you for
Hi,
inviting
hi,
us.
hi,
Yeah.
Mansi. Hi, Vandana. So, Mansi, if you could, starting with you, if you could take us through your, journey, how you actually, reached this top position, how you started, how everything fell into place. I am very excited to know, and I am hoping that this will be a very interesting tale to tell.
Thank you, Mugwil, and thank you, Dynamic CIO, to have this forum where we can talk about our journey and try to encourage more females. First and foremost, I would like to add, you said 10% is the percentage of Asian statistics for Indian women. So I feel very proud sitting here that, and I want the statistics to improve. So my journey was very different, and I would say that what comes out from my journey is that three things that always go for it, whatever risk that you need to take calculative risk to grow. Second is that ask for help, which is very important, which most of the females don't. So that is very important. Ask for support. And third is that mentorship of males is also there. Just they are there, they are ready to help you. Please go ahead and ask for help. So what happened with me, Mukbil, was I being an economics honors graduate. Then I did my yeah. So how I'm in security, I also don't know. Then I did interior designing, and I was designing an IT company's office where the
Wow.
MD told me that you've got a good flair of writing. Why don't you write one or two technical documents for me as a technical writer? At that time, I didn't know what technical writing is, but it interested me, so I took the job. Then I quickly, in the 3 years, I became the project manager there. I was 25 at that time, and the people who were reporting to me were all 50 plus, because they were all analysts who were, we were working on a very big project from Bombardier Canada, which is 77 airlines are there. And it was like a KPO kind of a project. And I joined as a technical writer and became the project manager there. So then my MD even said that, you have more, you can grow more. Why don't you try and look for other options? Then I joined Tech Mahindra. I joined as risk advisory and what was that? Information architect was my role there. The day I joined, my country head, he took my interview and he said, Mansi, I think you should be a PMO. I said, sir, I don't know what a PMO is. He said, no, it's a very upcoming line, and you are very skilled for it. Why don't you go with it and do a PMP? I said, okay, I'll do PMP. I did PMP, which is a very good prestigious course where project management is concerned. And I took that as a challenge. Then I became technical PMO. Then I joined another company as technical PMO and InfoSec, risk advisory, because security was not so big at that time. And then I took the leap of faith. For 13 years, I've been working in an IT company, and I got a call from manufacturing setup saying that, they need somebody to head MD's office. So, what they thought was that PMO is something which, like governance. So they needed somebody who can govern the MD's office as well, where 70% will be IT related, because they wanted someone to run the IT show. Everybody told me not to do it. Everybody, from my family to my friends to my mentors, because they said, the IT is a very different setup. Manufacturing is a very different setup. Think about it. I said, no, I'm going to do it, because I had a great discussion with the MD, and I thought the learning curve will be huge. Working with somebody who's running the show. And I joined Jaguar, and it's been 8 years, a beautiful 8 years there. Then when I worked in MD's office for last 6 years. Then I was practically heading IT also there, because there was no CIO at that time. And then Jaguar grew from 200 crores to 3,000 crores in a matter of 5 to 6 years, which was a huge, huge change. And digitalization had a big role to play in that. So after that, my MD said that now, because security is also being big, why don't you head the security function? I knew security well because I was heading IT, but I was not hardcore security person. So this happened 4 years back to me, and I took that as a challenge then. And I learned a lot about security. I did a lot of networking. I met Vandana also a couple of times in CISO platforms and, in various collaboration places. So I learned a lot from them also, because they are all veterans of security. And so here I am heading global security now for Jaguar Group.
Amazing. So it seems you have taken quite a few leaps of faith.
Yeah,
Mansi.
multiple.
Multiple, yeah. I mean, from economics to interior designing to risk advisory and finally to InfoSec. Wow, what a great journey it has been. Wonderful, very interesting. I think it can't get more diverse than this.
Yeah.
Literally. Bringing you, Vandana, would you like to share something about your journey, how it all started, how things fell into place, and how did you reach the current position that you're at?
Sure. I would say it all started with a serendipity wherein I was knowing that cybersecurity can be an area. Because as Mansi mentioned, that when she was introduced to cybersecurity, it was not a field, or it was not a space wherein you say that hot space where people want to be in. So it just I just happened to be in my first job. The project which I was supposed to onboard in my first company, they didn't know that I'm going to be onboarded. So I was onboarding to organization, but to the project, they had no clue. So there was a very nice manager or a delivery lead who found out that there are 8 people who are here and they don't have any place to go. So he helped us navigate through in that organization. And I was introduced to one of the SOC projects. And that's how my journey started. So nowhere to go, still found a place, and was introduced to cybersecurity. That was one place wherein it was all dynamic. And the fun fact, I was taking care of a SIEM solution and majorly vulnerability management, where I've never heard about what is a vulnerability. So learned that, and it was a 24/7 project. But the most interesting part was that whenever I used to go in morning shift, there would be something which will burst out. So I was given the full night shift. So I did that for straight 4.5 years. But the beauty was that I asked for one thing, that I want to have Saturday, Sunday off. So that was given to me. And I was not wanted to go to any other job. I did not have a much salary at that time, but still it was like there's something new you are learning every day, some new technology, some new tools, something else is there. But then there were people who were like, no, this is the right time, you should switch, you should switch. And as people say that you, or even Mansi said that you take a leap of faith. So I gave it all my efforts, and I got a few jobs, but all were in Hyderabad and Bangalore. And I did not get even one offer from Pune, because I was in Pune at that time. Like I wanted to stay in Pune. So it was now my decision. I checked with family and moved to Pune. That was one time where I tried hard. Like, I don't want to leave this city. Whenever, like when I was leaving Delhi, I was happy. Like, yes, I'm going to a new place. But now leaving, so that was very, very big.
I would say that I had a similar experience. When I was leaving Delhi, I was happy. When I went to Pune, I was very glad. Please carry on.
Yeah, and then I stayed on to my next company for 1.5 years, and then I got a good opportunity to work with my other company, and that's how actually it all started. Wherein I was hired for a vulnerability management role for network, like network pen testing, network vulnerability management. And suddenly my boss comes up and says that we need a person who's actually can handle people and can lead application security role. And I'm like, I've never done application security and I have no clue about it. I don't know the ABC of that. He said, I'm giving you 3 months, go for it. And those 3 months, I had like sleepless nights and whatnot. I was studying, and that's how I was introduced to OWASP as well. But that was very good role, wherein I was doing consulting, I was setting up projects, I was coming out of the project, and then taking up another, or there was a point wherein I was doing 8 projects at one time, like going to office at 7:30, coming back at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then again starting my laptop. So that was fun time. And moving on from that was again a serendipity, because I was on a deputation in Pune. Again, my destiny took me to. So I was on a 6-week deputation there, because I was setting up a project, which was we taking over from some other organization. So there I got this call, and I was like, okay, let's at least try. It's been 3 years. It's no harm in trying, even though I'm happy, but let's at least check yourself. And there it happened that they were setting up security in India. There was only one person in India. And I thought, okay, why not go for it? And that was a media company. Like, it was a very big media company, but they had a very, very small team, and not even 200 people in India. Not even, like, it was a very, very small. So setting up security for that, starting up with incident response, application security, bringing application security home, starting with cloud security. And wherein there came a point, I thought that I'm not going to be in security anymore, not going to be in IT anymore, because I had so many misconceptions going on when I was like, I would say that during my maternity, it was a very, very tough period, wherein I had so many things running in my mind, that what will happen next, whether I'll continue or not, whether I want to continue or not. That was one thing. And thanks to my bosses, both India boss and the person who was in US. I had a support, and while I came back from that from maternity, I got a promotion, wherein I had to take care of a bigger role, bigger landscape. Moving to IBM was all by chance. Like, again, there's something that you don't search, it just happens. So the person,
Serendipity.
yes, I think that's what I believe in a lot. And wherever things coming your way, never say no till the time you test it out. So I thought, I have already worked with IBM. Whether do I want to do it again? Like, whether do I want to join again or not? Because there are friends of mine who say that don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And it's like, you've already been to IBM once, you've seen it, and why do you want to join IBM again? But the first conversation I had was incredible. Like, I felt like, okay, this is the point wherein from being a manager, I want to join as an architect. I'm totally fine with that. There's something that new I'll be learning. And I would say that after joining IBM, there's no regret. There's something new to do every day. And all the things that I'm able to contribute to open source and all other places, I think the support that I've got from family and the organization that I work for is what it is.
Wonderful.
So, thank you, Vandana, for such elaborating your journey. So, Mansi, coming back to you, I would like to ask you, like, if you can share some anecdotes, like how you evolved into business and technology leader that you are today. For example, facing the boardroom for the first time, or your career breakthrough. If you can.
Yeah. Yeah, Gargi, thank you. Lovely question, I would say. That first and foremost, as Vandana said, that learning should never stop. This is one thing which a leader should always remember. So that really helped me as well. As we are growing different roles, if you're not learning, if you don't have that self-driven learning approach, you won't reach anywhere. So that is very important. Second is, of course, your mentors. Like, I would say that when I joined the security per se, because once you join security, then a lot of boardroom discussions need to happen. So I collaborated a lot, like especially like I would say like Dynamic CISO is a platform which really helped me to collaborate. I remember 3 or 4 years back when first I visited Mumbai, when Rahul called me that, there's a collaboration and you should come there. And he was so supportive that, he came because I think I was the only girl or just one or two were there, and they were a full male house. But he, specifically, took the effort, came in, then he introduced to me a lot of people, and then, got that comfort zone. So I would say that for all the female leaders, especially, we should really work on collaboration. One thing is that we always take a step back. So try to collaborate. I always say to all my, young female managers which I have, if the chair is not there for you, please pull it and sit. Don't crib that the chair is not there. Okay.
True, true.
Yeah. So that was something which always because you feel down sometimes, because you feel, all of them are having a gala time. What are you doing here alone? Don't get yourself into that hole. Bring yourself out of it, and you will see that you'll enjoy with them as well. Because at the end of the day, it is a male's world right now. So you need to make your place. Let's be very honest with it. So, take it as a challenge. That was second thing which I did. That, and third is, men and women, female are very different. Always remember that. Don't try to be men. That is something which I drilled inside. Because when, as Vandana said, once you hit maternity, once you start family planning, then, because you are built that way, you are more emotional,
Right.
you are more connected to your child, things will happen in your body, it's not that people are forcing you. You also feel that, maybe what is the right decision I want to take, right? Vandana is well aware of that. So you need to make sure what you want, and then build on top of it. So that is very important. So take help from your support system, take help from your family, take help from your your mentors. Like Vandana said, the same thing happened with me. My boss was so supportive, and if he was supportive, that was the only reason I was able to continue. They bent the rules for me. They did not have work from home, and my office, this Jaguar office, shifted from Gurgaon to Manesar, and I thought that I won't be able to continue. But they said, Mansi, will give you work from home, and they did not have it as a concept at that time. So bending the rule for one female, which is a very big thing. But then again, if they did something, you need to give back to them. You have to, work harder and take different kind of risk and do things well. So this is some of the leadership traits which really helped me to overcome the middle management and reaching the top.
Very true. Very rightly pointed, in fact.
Very
being in the
interesting
woman's
points,
space.
Mansi.
Yes.
Very interesting
Very
points. In
interesting
fact,
points.
I was taking some notes, and I got these few points from you. Learning never ends. Don't hesitate in asking for help. Make your place. Get your chair with yourself. That's a very good. That's a very good thing. Now, Vandana, it's your turn.
All right. I actually echo Vansi's viewpoints, because I totally believe in, till the time you feel that, oh, no, this is not the place for you, I think you're never going to grow in that area. So you have to make your space. And I've been through that journey wherein when I was going for OWASP board nominations, like that was a very different option for me. Like I've never worked with any board, or I've never worked with such a big organization, and that was open source. So and nobody knows me, and I had a feeling that nobody knows me outside India or even my own circle. So how it's going to turn out? But I just pulled my chair, took a seat, that yes, I am going to fight for myself and I am going to make it happen. And it happened, and I got the seat on the board. And after that, there was a fun fact. For the first month, I was just seeing there are 6 people who are arguing about something, and there is one topic which is getting dragged. So there's a 2-hour board call, and then it's getting dragged for 1 hour. Like, okay, when are the things that are going to get resolved? So the second meeting, I'll say, stop. I want to say something. That was my reaction. I want to put my point forward, and rather than just being the master of keyboards and letting other people say which is not right, you have to put your point and share your views that, okay, let's stop here and be a little more productive in that area. And I think that made me more closer to the board, more closer to where I stand right now, and take more initiatives. And so it's like sometimes you have to self-motivate, pick yourself up, like pick your broken pieces and feel, just, even though it'll be jumbled up, but still, once you assemble it, stand up, next thing is just going to work out. And ask for help. It's very, very important. Without asking for help, it's very tough. Like, you'll just be juggling within yourself.
Right.
Absolutely. It's great to see both of you in complete agreement.
So Vandana, I have a question for you. Like, like balancing home and office, how should a woman leader avoid the burnout and, also, be quite proficient in their work area? How did you do it? If you can.
See, I would say when it comes to balancing, it's both responsibility. Like, not just one person responsibility, it's for both the side. We do understand there's a difference. There is always a difference, but still they are equal. And that's when you have to speak up. You have to talk that, okay, this is till where I can help. And then this is where I would need your help. And a lot of times we don't ask for help. It's like we take it, nobody's taking us for granted. There are cases where they take, but then at other places you have to tell, I need your help. And it's both of us responsibility, and that's when we're going to go and survive in this. And I remember once my son was born, after 10 months I attended my first black hat. Like, I was so nervous that I should go out or not, whether I will be able to attend or not, whether I should go ahead and get a visa or not. So all of that came in, but I did. I think that was one showstopper wherein I just got my wings and I felt I can do it. I can balance out everything else. Another point is you can be 10 on 10 and you would not be 10 on 10. So it's, you have to decide where exactly you want to be 10 on 10, and how there will be things which will be failing. But it's just that you have to balance out wherein you can still spread your wings and balance out and ask for help. Like, that's one simple mantra I live by. And you don't have to do it all. You don't have to do it. And who are you justifying? Be happy.
Right.
Wonderful. So, Mansi, coming to you, there is a perception that women face various hurdles and challenges, as they try to make a career and try to get the best out of both the worlds. What is your bird's eye view on this? You are a woman leader in your own right. So coming from there, what is your take on this?
Yes, see, Mukbil, I think we have come a long way, but we still have to go a long way. That is for sure. That yes, there is some prejudice around females, especially in cybersecurity. So we all girls are trying to break it. And there are a lot of male members also who are trying to break it. I would say like Dynamic CISO is taking this opportunity that they want to break the barrier. So everybody is trying. But yes, I think the awareness needs to come now from the kids who are growing. That is very important. So for me, I really try to do a lot of sessions in schools, not only for girls, for both the, like if you want a career which is very challenging, if you want a career, where you want to learn continuously, as Vandana said, it is very, very challenging. You might have sleepless nights. If you want to be that person, go for it. It's not means that whether you are female or a male. So that is something which is very important. But yes, prejudice is there. So one thing which I always, give as an advice is the screening of a resume. Sometimes what happens, even if the prejudice is not there, just seeing a girl's name, you think, pata nahi kar payegi ki nahi kar payegi. So people don't, get the resume across. They'll give it for the second person. So first, the HR should remove the name for first level screening so that everybody gets an equal chance. That is something I think every organization should introduce. Wonderful. So things like that, if you do take a conscious effort, things will start happening.
True. And thanks a lot, Mansi, for acknowledging our initiatives and efforts You have, you have really gladdened my heart.
No, Mugbile, I mean, it is straight from the heart. It has helped me out. I was a very shy, very, that kind of a person who never speaks anywhere. And being at these forums, talking, it has really helped me grow as a person, as my skills. Though I am really thankful to these kind of platforms. They really help you grow, especially females.
Wonderful. So, Vandana, what about you? What challenges, prejudices, biases did you face, as you tried to carve that niche for yourself?
The thing is, when it comes to cybersecurity, people say that there is a very less number and we need more numbers, right? That's growing. Since 2013, it was 11%. Now it's 25%. One positive thing, if I talk about it, that now we can see a lot of women in boards. Like I can see that. I can see Mansi, I can see myself, I can see many others, which is one beautiful thing. And no doubt about supporting communities which are there.
True.
So when I was starting my journey, at that time, these communities were not there. And now when you have the communities which can help you, leverage it. And there's nothing wrong about taking help from them or taking leverage of such initiatives, because they are meant to be there for you. Because we have had this in our DNA, wherein we will take it slow. We will have our biases there. So those biases will take time to get removed. That cannot happen overnight or in just few years. It will take time. We have seen that even when we switch from one state to another, one city to another, culture changes. And especially if I talk about India, it changes, like food changes, clothes changes, people mindset changes when you move from one city to another. So that has a big role to play. And obviously those cultural shifts are happening, and they will happen over the time. But what we as women and the allies, male allies, can do is support more and take help from all the communities that are there, without judging yourself that who will think what. People have to think. They will think what they have to think. Just go for it.
Yeah, I would like to add what Vandana said, that, there's another mindset. People feel that maybe in developing countries, the females are not giving that much preference as in developed countries, but it is totally opposite. Like in India, if you look at India and you look at US, I have nothing against anybody, but it is completely different. Females are still struggling to, come on the top, and we are in India. There's a lot of change already. So it is lovely to see when you travel. It's lovely to see.
Absolutely. I totally echo your opinion. And I think that's one good thing about your being here, being at home. Still, you can make a change, and people will recognize your efforts. They will support you, what you're doing. I have got a lot of support from the community, from the people around, or I wouldn't have been at a place where I am right now. I can proudly say that, yes, we have one amazing community in India, which supports everyone.
So, Mansi, I would like to ask you that on what points, women should be actively encouraged to go into the world of cybersecurity. Considering the numbers are very less, it's it's 11%, and Asia Pacific it's 10%.
Right.
Yeah. So Vandana, how do you get the situation to change?
Yeah. See, as we are saying a lot, one thing which is foremost is first you see whether you want to be in cybersecurity or not. Whether you are female or male, that is not the point here. Second is we need to start at the bottom, especially in schools. That is very important, so that the girls know that there is a career in cybersecurity available. We need to bring in more courses, because I think the courses are very less, where you can diverse into cybersecurity in especially in government colleges. So they are bringing up a lot of things, but something like this needs to happen. Earlier, I was thinking maybe there should be a quota for females, but now I don't think so, because equality is more important. So they should get there on based on their this thing, that yes, they can do it. They got it because they are, what do you say? I'm not getting
Capable,
the word, but
caliber.
yeah, they're
Capable.
capable. Exactly.
Capable.
Yeah, thank you. I was not getting that word. So you are capable. Then you should go for it.
Good point, but a little controversial point. Quota is not that important.
Yeah, it isn't. I think it isn't. You should really be capable. Girls should know that it's not that, because you're a girl, you'll get a seat in the room.
True.
Yeah, you need to be capable for it.
Absolutely.
I totally
you
agree
need to
with you.
deserve it before you get it.
Yes.
I totally I don't know, but this is one panel wherein I'm totally in line with Mansi, and we are just
That I
like,
can see.
yeah,
Yeah.
there is so much of similarity in the thoughts wherein I don't believe in quota. If someone says that we want to have 50-50, that's not a quota. That they want equality, and there is no harm in that. It's just that they want to make sure that there is equal participation from both the sides. They have diverse ideas, and that's how innovation comes into picture. Like, she landed into a totally manufacturing brand, and then she actually excelled in a lot of things that happened because she was given an opportunity. First, you have to give an opportunity and then say she can do it or she cannot. If she cannot do it, okay, don't keep her. That's when merit system comes into picture. Like, we totally understand that you're talking about merit system and all, but first give an opportunity to the person, and that's how diverse views comes into picture. And I'm totally supportive of that thing. If the person cannot do it, don't give it. But if the person at least tries it, deserves it, she should get it, or he should get it. Not just for she, but he should also get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Vandana really touched upon a very good point of diversity there, that for a corporation to run well, diversity is very important. That is what I firmly believe. That if it is only male run organization, it will be different from if it is a hybrid kind of a organization. Hybrid is the new word for 2021. So I wanted to put it here. But I definitely believe it should be a very healthy mix. Not even if not 50-50, but yes, some participation is required to get the organization leap forward. And I think there are some stats also there, which really shows that when the board has representation of women, that organization are really doing well.
Right. So, Mansi, now, we have the good fortune of having two cybersecurity leaders in our midst. So, Mansi, what would your, suggestions be to budding women InfoSec leaders, particularly with respect to cybersecurity? Some tips, suggestions?
Yeah, so one is, which I would say is, you are awesome. Always remember that, any female. So you can reach places if you want to. For specifically for cybersecurity, I would say there's an amazing career, and it is not only hacking. That is very important. They need to know that there are very vast fields available where cybersecurity is concerned. It can be privacy, it can be risk management, it can be auditing, it can be anything, and of course hacking. But not ethical hacking, okay, not hacking. So all that is available. So if you want a challenging job, and it is at the end of the day, it has good money. So that is also very important. So if you want a very challenging job where you want to excel in different things and you want to learn a lot, go in for cybersecurity. You would love it. I think it is a great place for females to be in.
Right. What about you, Vandana?
I would say
Your
stay
views?
curious. Yeah, stay curious and be hungry of knowledge. There's a dearth of information, there's a dearth of knowledge in this sector, because cybersecurity can be mapped with literally anything. Talk about your day-to-day life. Like, we have smart TVs at home, smart refrigerators, and what else? Smart Alexas, right? I keep my Google away from internet most of the times. But yes, we do have so many things. Like, you have cloud security, network, you have applications, you have IoT devices, cloud, and like anything and everything that you can think of, there has cybersecurity to it. And especially all the hacks that have happened in the past, that has again fueled it up in such a way that any job can, like, people can take away any job, but not cybersecurity. Cybersecurity people are required anywhere and everywhere, and you don't need to be like an expert. You can be a person who has soft skill and can help in report writing. Like, if you are a good report writing person, you can be really good in helping the pen testing team. Then you can be amazing PMO, you can be a good architect, you can be a good pen tester, you can be a good application security person. So think about anything and you can be in cybersecurity. Like, it's so many roles are there, it's just ocean of things. And again, if I talk about the stats about unfilled jobs, there are 4 million unfilled jobs. So they need people. Why can't we join this place? And it's a good money. So join. And it all goes back to schools, it goes back to colleges. That's how we're trying to interact with schools, colleges, so that people know that yes, this is a career, this can be taken as a career. If not, even if they're doing something else, but they still come back to cybersecurity at any given point. And they don't need to be just a computer science graduate for that. You can be in any field, and still be part of it. You can be anyone who can still be part of cybersecurity, and that's the beauty of it.
True, true,
Very
true.
very good.
I think we can sum up the entire conversation with what Mansi said, and I am ready to latch on to it. You are awesome. That's the tagline, and that's the way that women should go about in deciding their careers, their personal journeys, as well as their professional journeys. Friends, it's been a lovely, lovely evening. We had a very insightful discussion, and I see a lot of people attending this event, which shows the level of interest and excitement that there is among people. And but in the interest of time, let's wrap it up. And but still, before leaving, I would like to give 30 seconds to both of you, starting with Vandana. Your take about the entire thing.
For the entire journey, I think one thing that any women or even a student or anyone should start doing is check out for the connections who inspires you. Send them requests, get connected with them. Networking is one important aspect of any great communication and taking you to a next step. Be it you are a shy person or not, sending a LinkedIn request, following someone on some place doesn't harm you. And that's how you're going to start your journey. And you never know when they start getting inspired by you. It has happened with me. It has happened with many other people. So that's where you start off, and stay curious for knowledge, be it you stay in cybersecurity or not, and never feel that you are one in the room. There is always one in the room who's going to be the role model. So you can be a role model to maybe 99 other people.
Stay curious, stay connected. Networking helps a lot.
Networking.
Wonderful points. Mansi, your turn.
Yeah, so mine is that I will not add what Vandana said. I will just add the new ones. Toot your horn. That is very important for females. They should know how to, do work and then present it as well. Second is ask for support, as we have been telling in this entire panel. And third is, yes, I would say the same thing as Vandana said. Be curious, always keep learning. That is something which will take you places.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. We've
you.
had a lot of takeaways from this wonderfully lively and very enlightening discussion. We generally tend to keep our interactions very interactive and really heart to heart, where you can speak about the trials and tribulations that you went through, how things came about, how everything fell into place. Thanks a lot for sharing your journeys, your accomplishments and achievements with us today. Have a great evening ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mikbil. It's our pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Vandana.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Vandana.
Thanks,
you.
Vandana.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mansi.
Thank you.